My daughter chose her cheating mom over me to walk her down the aisle, so I refused to pay for her wedding. Things started to change drastically during her college years. She stopped visiting as often, and when she did, her attitude toward me was distant, almost cold. She'd make snide remarks about my work schedule or question my parenting choices from years ago. It was subtle at first, but over time, it became more obvious that something wasn't right. One evening, during one of her rare visits, we had dinner together. I tried to catch up with her, asking about her classes, her friends, and her plans for the future. Her answers were short, dismissive, as if she couldn't wait for the conversation to end. Then, out of nowhere, she blurted, "Mom told me everything." I froze. My mind raced. What had her mother told her? Did she finally confess her affair? "What do you mean?" I asked cautiously. She rolled her eyes. "You always played the victim, didn't you? Pretending to be the perfect dad while Mom struggled. She told me how you ignored her needs, how you were cold and distant, and how you only cared about your work. No wonder she looked for comfort elsewhere." I was speechless. For a moment, I couldn't even process what I was hearing. My ex-wife, the woman who had cheated on me, shattered our marriage, and left me to pick up the pieces, had rewritten history, and painted me as the villain. Worse, my daughter believed her. I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "That's not the whole truth," I said carefully. "Your mother and I had our issues, but I was always there for you. I never wanted you to be caught in the middle." Her expression hardened. "Of course you'd say that. Mom told me how you made her feel small, how you ignored her pain. You act like you're the victim. But maybe if you'd been a better husband, none of this would have happened." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I wanted to defend myself, to tell her everything, to lay out the betrayal, the lies, the sacrifices I made to protect her. But looking at her angry, tear-filled eyes, I couldn't do it. I didn't want to destroy her image of her mother, no matter how much it hurt me. Instead, I said, "I'm sorry you feel that way. I've always tried to do what's best for you." She scoffed, pushing her chair back from the table. "Maybe you should have tried harder." And just like that, she walked out, leaving me sitting alone with my thoughts. The months that followed were some of the darkest of my life. My daughter stopped visiting altogether. Calls and messages went unanswered. I heard updates about her life through mutual friends and the occasional post on social media. It was as if she had erased me from her world. I struggled to understand how things had gone so wrong. I replayed every interaction, every moment, trying to figure out where I'd failed. But deep down, I knew this wasn't entirely my doing. My ex-wife had planted these seeds of resentment, and they had finally taken root. Still, I refused to give up. I sent her letters, telling her how much I loved her and how proud I was of her accomplishments. I invited her to family gatherings, holidays, and even casual lunches, hoping to rebuild our bond. But every invitation was met with silence or a curt, "I'm busy." The breaking point came when I heard from a mutual friend that my daughter had referred to me as a deadbeat dad during a conversation. She claimed that I had never been there for her, that I had prioritized my career over my family, and that I was the reason her childhood wasn't perfect. It broke me. For years, I had swallowed my pain, my anger, and my pride to shield her from the truth. I had sacrificed so much to ensure she had a good life. And now, I was the villain in her story. I realized then that I couldn't fix this. No matter how much I loved her, no matter how much I wanted to mend our relationship, the damage was done. I had lost her, not because of anything I had done, but because of the lies and manipulation of someone I had once trusted. It's been 2 years since we last spoke. I still think about her every day. I wonder if she'll ever see the truth, if she'll ever understand the sacrifices I made for her. But I've come to accept that some wounds take time if they ever heal at all. In the meantime, I've focused on rebuilding my own life. I've poured my energy into my business and taken up hobbies I never had time for before. I've even started dating again, though it's been difficult to open my heart after everything I've been through. And yet, despite it all, I don't regret my choices. I don't regret putting my daughter's happiness first, even if it cost me everything. Because that's what being a parent is about, loving your child unconditionally, even when they don't love you back. One day, I hope she'll come back to me. I hope she'll ask questions, seek the truth, and realize that I was always in her corner. But until then, I'll keep living, keep loving, and keep hoping. Because no matter what happens, she will always be my little girl. Fast forward to today. My daughter is 26, living on her own, and recently got engaged to the love of her life. When she called to tell me the news, I was overjoyed. As her father, all I've ever wanted was for her to find happiness. Hearing the excitement in her voice made my heart swell. I immediately told her I'd pay for her wedding. Her laughter and gratitude were everything I had hoped for. "Dad, are you serious?" she asked, disbelief and excitement blending in her tone. "Of course," I replied. "It's a father's duty, isn't it?" For a moment, I felt like the hero in her story, the dad who always shows up when it counts. Her happiness made me feel like I was still an important part of her life. But little did I know, that moment would soon crumble into something I never could have expected. A few days later, she called me again. This time, her tone was different, hesitant, almost awkward. She started with small talk, but I could tell something was on her mind. Finally, she took a deep breath and said, "Dad, there's something I need to ask you." "Anything," I said without hesitation. Then she said it. "I want Mom to walk me down the aisle instead of you." For a moment, I thought I'd misheard her. "Your mom?" I asked, half laughing, waiting for her to say she was joking. But she wasn't. "Yes," she said flatly, as if it was no big deal. "She's always been there for me, and it just feels right." I was stunned. My mind raced as I tried to make sense of what she was saying. "What about me?" I asked. "I'm your father. Walking you down the aisle is something I've dreamed of since the day you were born." Her response felt like a slap in the face. "Dad, don't make this a big deal. It's my wedding, and I've already decided." I tried to stay calm, but the hurt in my voice was undeniable. "I don't understand. I've been there for you every step of the way. Why would you choose your mom over me?" She sighed, as if I was the one being unreasonable. "Because she raised me, Dad." "You were there, but not like she was." Her words hit me like a freight train. "Not like she was?" I repeated, disbelief and pain lacing my voice. "Do you have any idea what I've done for you? The sacrifices I've made?" Instead of softening, she doubled down. "Dad, you're overreacting. It's not about you." That's when she said it, the words that would haunt me for days. "Mom raised me alone. You were useless." Useless. A single word, yet it carried the weight of every unspoken wound, every sacrifice I had ever made. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Years of memories flashed through my mind, the late nights rocking her to sleep, the school recitals, the scraped knees I patched up, and the endless support I gave her, even after her mother and I divorced. None of it mattered. In her eyes, I was nothing. I couldn't hold it in any longer. "Your mother cheated on me," I blurted out, my voice shaking. "I kept it a secret to protect you. I could have walked away, but I stayed for you. And this is how you see me?" There was silence on the other end of the line. But it wasn't the kind of silence that comes from understanding. It was the kind that signals disbelief or worse, apathy. "You're lying," she said coldly, and then she hung up. Later that evening, my phone buzzed with a furious text from my ex-wife. "How dare you try to ruin our daughter's wedding? You're pathetic." Pathetic. Another knife to the heart. For years, I had swallowed my pain and anger to maintain peace. But now, it was clear I had been the villain in her rewritten version of our family's history all along. I decided to send screenshots of my ex-wife's texts to my daughter. I thought if she saw the truth, the manipulation, the lies, she'd finally understand. But to my shock, she responded with a curt message. "Leave us alone. You're being unreasonable." Unreasonable? Was it unreasonable to want respect? To hope for gratitude? To believe that I still mattered to the child I had given everything for? After hours of crying and soul-searching, I made a decision. If I wasn't her father in her eyes, then I wouldn't be her bank either. I texted her, explaining my feelings. I told her I couldn't, in good conscience, pay for a wedding where I wasn't even welcome as her father. Then, with a heavy heart, I blocked her number. I knew this decision would hurt her, but I couldn't ignore the hurt she had already inflicted on me. This wasn't about money, it was about principle, about respect. And it was clear I had lost hers. The fallout was swift. Within days, my daughter's tone shifted entirely. She began flooding my phone with apologies, texts, voicemails, even posts on social media about what a wonderful father I am. She wrote about how much she loved me, how much I meant to her, and how she couldn't imagine her wedding without me. But I couldn't shake the feeling that her apologies were insincere. If she truly valued our relationship, she wouldn't have dismissed me so easily in the first place. Was this sudden change of heart about me or about my money? Even my ex-wife reached out, her voice softer this time. "I never meant for things to go this far," she said. "We need to come together for our daughter." Her words were a bitter reminder of how often I had been asked to be the bigger person while she got to play the victim. But this time, I refused to play along. The damage had been done. For years, I had allowed myself to be a doormat, thinking it was for the greater good. Now, I saw the truth. I had been enabling them to take advantage of me. I've decided to focus on myself and the life I've built. It's painful to let go, but I've learned an important lesson. Love and respect are a two-way street. No matter how much you give, you can't force someone to see your worth. I'll always love my daughter. She's my flesh and blood, and a part of me will always hope she comes to understand the depth of my love for her. But I can't let her or anyone else treat me like I'm disposable. As I write this, I feel a strange mix of sadness and relief. Sadness for what I've lost, but relief for finally standing up for myself. For years, I gave and gave, hoping it would be enough. But now I see that self-worth doesn't come from how much you give to others. It comes from how much you value yourself. It's been a few weeks now, and the wedding plans have changed drastically. My daughter and her fiancé have opted for a smaller ceremony, one they can afford without my financial support. I've heard through mutual friends that she's been telling people we had a misunderstanding, but that everything is fine now. I haven't unblocked her yet. Not because I don't love her, but because I need time to heal. Maybe one day, we'll rebuild our relationship. Maybe one day, she'll see the truth. But for now, I'm learning to let go of the guilt and focus on the future, my future. Because at the end of the day, I deserve respect. And I won't settle for less, not from my daughter, not from anyone.